Hi, welcome along to Transfer Daily, coming to you today at a very early time of 7 o'clock here over in the UK. Listen, we're going to get straight into it. The big story today, transfer rumour going around, is that Arsenal, are prepared to bid for Liverpool's Daniel Agger. Now, Daniel Agger, of course, is a central defender. A couple of years ago, was considered one of the best central defenders around in the Premier League, but sort of fallen out of favour with Brendan Rodgers. Of course, Liverpool now, they've recently signed Lovren from Southampton for £20 million. So that means that Daniel Agger's going to be playing second fiddle at Liverpool, and it's something that he stated quite categorically that he doesn't want to play second fiddle. He wants to have a more starting role. He's starting to get on a bit. He's 29 years of age. And he's more or less said, listen, if I'm going to be playing second fiddle, I'd rather be out and go and play somewhere else. The club that was supposedly really interested in signing Agger was Brøndby, which is his previous club that he used to play for in Denmark. They desperately want to sign him. But apparently they have said that they face competition from Arsenal. Now, Arsenal, of course, are going to be looking for a defender because it's kind of common knowledge that Vermaelen is on his way out of the club. And the person that a lot of the papers are saying today that Arsenal are interested in bringing in to fill his shoes is Daniel Agger. And to be honest with you, I don't think that'd be a bad replacement. The only thing being, if Daniel Agger is saying that he doesn't want to be second fiddle at Liverpool, why is he going to want to come to Arsenal to be second fiddle? Because he's not going to start. He is a good defender, you know, and he's going to want to. If he's going to want to start, he's not going to get starts at Arsenal because he's not going to get in front of Koscielny and he's not going to get in front of Mertesacker. But apparently, Arsenal have been linked with a move for Liverpool's Daniel Agger today. Now, one of the reasons, of course, as we know, that Arsenal are desperately looking at defenders is because Thomas Vermaelen is kind of obvious to me that he's going to be leaving the club. Arsenal have offered him a new deal. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's not really interested in that because he wants to start playing football week in, week out. Similar situation to Agger. And we've known of interest from Manchester United that they want to bring him in. Well, we're also hearing this morning that Barcelona have apparently bid £10 million for Thomas Vermaelen. They want to bring him in. And if I am Arsenal or I'm Arsene Wenger, I would rather sell him to Barcelona than sell him to Manchester United. We don't want to be strengthening our rivals. Listen, I'm kind of cool on Vermaelen leaving, but if Barcelona are in for him, let him go to Barcelona. I would much rather that than another one of our players going to Manchester United. I mean, we need to stop this sort of thing. But we're going to have to wait and see on that one. That's just a lot of speculation at the moment that it's going around, you know, in a lot of the media outlets today that Barcelona are heavily in for Vermaelen and have made an opening £10 million bid. Listen, this is we've been talking a lot about defensive midfielders here on Transfer Daily over the past few weeks, neglected to really, in a way, to really talk a lot about this position because if Vermaelen goes, we're really going to be lacking in that position. The fact that last year we had Vermaelen there, we also had Sagna who could cover that position. If Sagna, of course, has already gone, Vermaelen goes. I know that we've brought in Callum Chambers and we sort of experimented with having him in there in those two friendlies, and he looked pretty decent. But we're definitely going to need at least one more centre half, and he's going to have to be a good one as well. It can't be, to me, a kid. It's got to be somebody who comes in who is very, very strong already in that position, and to me knows the Premier League. And I was looking at two players today that I think that maybe Arsenal should go out there and get to replace Vermaelen, because remember, they'll have £10 million. They've already got money in the bank, we know, but they'll also have that £10 million that they get for Vermaelen. So two of the players I was looking at, Nastasic, the Manchester City player, they're just about to buy, is it Mangala, or that they're bringing in. So, you know, there's going to be no place really for Nastasic. She's going to be pushed out to like number 4. there at Manchester City. Why not go and get him? Good young centre half, not too young, experience of playing in the Premier League, and for me, when I saw him, he looked pretty decent, and I wouldn't mind him at all. And the other player that I think Arsenal should go out there and try and break the bank and get this guy. Well, they wouldn't even need to break the bank. I think, you know, the lure of Champions League football, probably around £10 million, slightly more, would get him, and that is Winston Reid from West Ham. I'd heard about 3 weeks ago that Arsenal are very interested in Winston Reid. He looked a very, very good defender when I saw him last year at West Ham. If you speak to any West Ham fan, they will tell you that he's a top defender and was probably their best centre-half. Why don't we go out and get somebody like him? We're going to need somebody strong because, listen, with our injury record, whoever comes in as a backup centre-half might find himself playing a lot of games. So we're going to need somebody who's very competent in that position. We're also in loads of different competitions. So why not, to me, Winston Reid or Nestacic, one of those two I think would do a brilliant job at Arsenal. But for, you know what, we're going to seriously have to think about a very, very good replacement. Even Agger. I think Agger would be a decent player. But as I said, he doesn't want to play second fiddle at Liverpool. Why would he want to come to Arsenal and play second fiddle? That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Also news today that Sami Khedira is back in training at Real Madrid. He's now back off of his holidays, so expect to see that start hotting up soon, for a lot of talk to be around that and what's happening with Sami Khedira. And remember on yesterday's show, I was asking everybody who would they prefer, Khedira or Carvalho. Let me see if I can have a look at some of the comments from yesterday's show. Now, this is what some of you guys were saying yesterday when commenting on that, because as I asked, who would you prefer, Carvalho or Khedira? Isaac Cronin says, actually, we should sign Carvalho. He's 22 and he's only going to get better. He's already worth 37 million euros, so in 5 years' time, he could be double that. And this kid is something special. Hector Tenorio said, Bayern Munich are waiting to get Khedira for free. That says it all. He's not worth the money to them, so why should that be for us? I say let's get Carvalho. Curtis Jackson says, Khedira can go about his wages. He said, Carvalho is the man we need. Anyway, he said, because he's sort of a Patrick Vieira type figure and would be welcome at the Emirates. Cameron Bennart says, Carvalho's whole game screams of Vieira, and we've never ever successfully replaced him. Khedira, for me, isn't all that disciplined, and he'd be trying to get among the attacks as much as possible. That isn't what we need. We need a presence in the middle who contest and defend in the middle of the pitch and give that cover to the defence, but can string the play from defence to the attackers, which is Carvalho. So a lot of votes here for Carvalho. Darren Russell said Carvalho easily. Pals Zen said, personally, I'd rather Carvalho. Sure, Khedira is a World Cup winner, but that means nothing if he's injured a lot. And above he attacks, he likes to attack rather than defend like he should. Carvalho looks like one of those bulky, no-nonsense defensive midfielders that can do a good job at the defensive side of Arsenal. While on the subject of defence, who should we get to fill the role of Vermaelen? He said, well, that's what we've been discussing today. And we'll finish with this one. There's loads, by the way, hundreds of comments. Tremaine Brown says, the only way we can come out losers is if we don't get anyone. You can't win the Premier League with Mikel Arteta as your linchpin for the entire team, or Matthew Flamini. So those are some of your comments from yesterday. Really appreciate those. But everybody there seeming to be on the side more of Carvalho, which a bit surprising, you know, youngster. I still think Khedira, for me, he's got that experience. I'd still go for Khedira, but a lot of people there going for Carvalho. Let us know what you think today. As I said, we're talking now about defenders. What defender do you think? Give us the name of defenders that you think Arsenal should be looking to bring in, because it's just as important as a defensive midfielder who we are going to get to replace Thomas Vermaelen. Thanks for watching Transfer Daily today. We will be back tomorrow, probably around the same time as, well, a little bit later tomorrow, because we've got the whole Members Day thing down there at Arsenal. We're going to be down there covering that. So if you're coming along to Members Day tomorrow at Arsenal, look out for Arsenal Fan TV. We will be talking to the fans down there. Thanks for watching.